No, they weren't there.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. I looked everywhere. And they're not in the camera shop either, because I went in and asked.
They were adored worldwide. Marilyn Monroe, Natalie Wood, Jean Harlow. But 20 actresses faced shocking fates. Overdoses, accidents, even murder. Hollywood's brightest stars burned out too soon. Which tragedy, from the Black Dahlia to Sharon Tate, remains the darkest? The final tale is unbelievable. Number 20, Renee Adoree. How does a woman who once symbolized joy end up fading away in silence? Why did her fame vanish before her life? Renee Adoree, born in France, became one of the brightest stars of the silent era. Her breakout role in The Big Parade in 1925 was monumental. It sold more than 20 million tickets worldwide, one of the biggest box office hits of the decade. Audiences adored her energy, yet just 8 years later, she was gone. Tuberculosis consumed her body, forcing her to retire in 1930. At only 35, her life ended, and MGM spent fortunes covering up her declining health to preserve her glamorous image. Reports reveal she weighed less than 90 pounds in her final moments, her vibrant screen presence reduced to shadows. She's buried in Hollywood Forever Cemetery, rarely visited compared to her contemporaries. But if an illness silenced Renee, the next tragedy shows how fate could steal away hope in one cruel instant. Number 19, Susan Peters.
I might take you up on it. I'm just that shameless. I've run after you from the very beginning.
What happens when a single accident destroys both career and spirit? Could a star's brightest years really vanish overnight? Susan Peters was an Academy Award nominee for Random Harvest in 1942, praised as one of MGM's most promising young talents. At just 21, she had Hollywood at her feet. Then, in 1945, disaster struck. On a New Year's hunting trip, a rifle discharged, leaving her permanently paralyzed from the waist down. Studios abandoned her almost immediately. MGM released her contract within 2 years, proof of how ruthless the system could be. Peters tried television, teaching, and even writing, but the industry never welcomed her back. Her health worsened from repeated infections and malnutrition, and at just 31, she died alone in California. Friends recalled how she once said, "I'm not afraid of death, I'm afraid of not living." Yet, if Susan's life ended in quiet despair, what followed was a death so shocking, it became a twisted Hollywood mystery. Number 18, Mary McDonald.
I've never been in an artist studio before. Would I bother you too much?
I can give you 2 minutes anyway.
Why did a woman once crowned the body beautiful vanish in scandal? And why did her beauty never guarantee her safety? Mary McDonald was a model turned starlet whose curvy figure earned her the nickname that followed her entire career. She appeared in musicals like Living in a Big Way, 1947, even co-starring with Gene Kelly. Yet, behind the glamour, her personal life unraveled. 6 marriages, endless affairs, and tabloid headlines branding her the Queen of Scandals. In 1957, she claimed she was kidnapped by 2 men, tied up and left in the desert, a story police doubted but which gripped America. By the early 1960s, her career had collapsed and her health was wrecked by barbiturates. In 1965, she was found dead at 42 from an overdose, her body discovered in her San Fernando Valley home. Strangely, her husband also died of an overdose just 2 months later, leaving Hollywood whispering about curses. If Marie's end shocked gossip columns, the next star's downfall exposed the brutal edge of poverty and ruin. Number 17, Barbara Payton.
No, I don't dance with anyone anymore. Why? Because you bought all the tickets when you married me.
Hollywood once paid her thousands a week. By the end, she couldn't afford food. How does a golden girl fall this far? Barbara Payton was only 23 when Warner Brothers gave her a 5-year contract, calling her the next big thing. She starred opposite James Cagney in Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye in 1950, yet tomorrow came too quickly. Instead of fame, she became infamous for her turbulent personal life, a very public love triangle with actor Franchot Tone and tough guy Tom Neal. Newspapers covered their violent fights as eagerly as her movies. Studios blacklisted her, and by the late 1950s, Payton was trading autographed photos for a meal. In 1963, she wrote a brutally honest memoir titled I Am Not Ashamed, admitting to alcoholism and sex work. Just 4 years later, her liver gave out. At 39, she was dead, her last years spent in a cheap Hollywood apartment. Her decline was horrifying, but the next story asks what happens when success hides a much darker secret. Number 16. Inger Stevens.
I was married back in Denver. His name was Paul.
She smiled on screen in comedies, but behind the smile was despair. Why couldn't millions of fans see the truth? Born in Sweden, Inger Stevens became one of the most familiar faces on American television in the 1960s. Her show, The Farmer's Daughter, earned her Emmy nominations, and she co-starred with Clint Eastwood and Henry Fonda on the big screen. Yet, her personal life told another story. In 1970, she was found collapsed in her Hollywood Hills home after ingesting barbiturates. She was only 35. Friends described her as lonely despite her fame. Later, it emerged that she had secretly married African-American producer Ike Jones in 1961, a shocking revelation in segregated America that she kept hidden for fear of losing her career. Her death certificate revealed the marriage only after passing. Her secret life added tragedy to her sudden death, but the next actress faced not secrecy but the cruel weight of being the first. Number 15. Dorothy Dandridge.
Love's a baby that grows up wild, and he don't do what you want him to.
She broke barriers as the first Black woman nominated for a Best Actress Oscar. But why did Hollywood turn its back so quickly? Dorothy Dandridge earned her Oscar nomination for Carmen Jones in 1954, a performance hailed as revolutionary. She should have been a superstar, yet the roles offered afterward were degrading stereotypes. By the early 1960s, she was struggling to pay her bills, forced to sell her Hollywood home. Financial records show she had just $2 in her bank account the year before her death. In 1965, she was found dead at age 42 from an overdose of antidepressants. Some claimed it was suicide, others believed it was accidental. She was buried in Forest Lawn Memorial Park, her legacy rediscovered decades later when Halle Berry portrayed her in a 1999 biopic. Dorothy's downfall was a cruel reminder of how Hollywood discarded pioneers. But the next tragedy reveals how even adoration from millions couldn't stop heartbreak from turning fatal. Number 14. Carole Landis.
One of the girls married the owner of a banana plantation and invited me out. Bananas. I hope I never see another.
War bond tours made her a hero, but romance destroyed her. How does an adored pinup end her life alone at 29? Carole Landis earned the nickname the Blonde Bombshell after starring in 1 Million BC in 1940. She entertained troops across Europe during World War II, performing in over 500 shows for soldiers. Yet, her private life unraveled. She began an affair with actor Rex Harrison, who refused to leave his wife. On July 5, 1948, she was found dead at her Pacific Palisades home, a suicide note on the nightstand. Only 29, she had 4 marriages, countless affairs, and a career MGM had quietly pushed aside. Her funeral drew thousands, yet gossip papers branded her reckless instead of heartbroken. Her end shocked fans, but the next actress's tragedy sparked one of Hollywood's most infamous rumors about her final night. Number 13. Lupe Velez.
I'm surprised you're staying to hear me sing. Oh, I can stand anything for this. I could eat my weight in hot tamales.
Audiences called her the Mexican Spitfire. But why did a woman so full of fire decide to extinguish her own light at 36? Lupe Velez was among the first Latina stars in Hollywood, famous for her bold personality and explosive comedies. She married Tarzan actor Johnny Weissmuller, lived extravagantly, and defied studio bosses. In 1944, facing a failed romance and pregnancy by actor Harold Raymond, she swallowed Seconal tablets in her Beverly Hills home. She was just 36. For decades, a cruel urban legend claimed she died in her bathroom, which tabloids sensationalized, though the coroner confirmed otherwise. Her funeral in Los Angeles drew a massive Latino crowd, showing how deeply she had inspired her community. Her death was scandalized beyond recognition, but the next story carried a darker, almost ghostly legend tied to the Hollywood sign itself. Number 12. Peg Entwistle.
I've got to tell somebody to get it out of my head. Hazel, I shouldn't go on with this act.
One leap created a legend, but what drove a 24-year-old Broadway actress to climb the Hollywood sign and never come down? Peg Entwistle moved from London to Broadway, then to Los Angeles, chasing fame during the Great Depression. She starred in just one film, 13 Women in 1932, before despair overcame her. On September 16, 1932, she climbed a maintenance ladder to the letter H of the Hollywood sign and jumped. She was only 24. Her suicide note read, "I'm afraid, I'm a coward. I'm sorry for everything." Newspapers dubbed her the Hollywood Sign Girl, immortalizing her tragedy in urban lore. Ironically, the day after her death, a letter arrived offering her a major studio role. Her fall still haunts Los Angeles, but the next death shook Hollywood so violently it nearly destroyed a comedian's career forever. Number 11. Anissa Jones.
They say, they want a picture.
They want a picture of you?
Yeah.
Do you send it?
Child stars seem untouchable, yet why do so many burn out before they ever grow up? Anissa Jones was only 6 when she was cast as Buffy on the hit sitcom Family Affair, which ran from 1966 to 1971. Overnight, she became America's sweetheart, recognized everywhere for carrying her doll, Mrs. Beasley. But behind the laughter, her life spiraled. After the show ended, roles vanished and her family fell apart. Her father died of heart disease. Her mother faced custody battles. By her teens, she was drifting, taking odd jobs instead of acting. On August 28, 1976, after a party in Oceanside, California, she died of a drug overdose that included cocaine, PCP, and barbiturates. She was only 18, the youngest entry on this list. At her funeral, the Mrs. Beasley doll was placed beside her coffin, a heartbreaking symbol of lost innocence. Her death reminded America of the dangers of fame too young, but the next tragedy showed that even the most glamorous adults weren't safe. Number 10. Jean Harlow.
Listen, Sally, I made up my mind a long time ago. I'm not going to spend my whole life on the wrong side of the railroad tracks.
Hollywood called her the Platinum Blonde, but her real life was darker than her glowing screen image. How does a superstar vanish at 26? Jean Harlow defied 1930s Hollywood glamour, starring in hits like Red Dust 1932 with Clark Gable. She was MGM's Golden Girl, known for her wit, beauty, and shocking sex appeal. By the mid-1930s, she was one of the highest-paid women in America, earning $3,000 a week. But on June 7, 1937, she died at just 26 of kidney failure, possibly aggravated by harsh peroxide dyes and the studio's refusal to let her rest. Her final film, Saratoga, was completed using a body double, one of the first times a studio had to fake an actress to finish production. Thousands lined up for her funeral, many fainting at the sight of her white casket. Clark Gable, her close friend, stood weeping by her side. Her sudden death shocked MGM, but the next name on this list shows how even endless applause could not drown out a lifetime of suffering. Number 9. Judy Garland.
And my eyesight is so bad, it's getting difficult to read either the cue cards or the lyrics.
Every song she sang hit a lifetime of pain. How could the girl who gave us Oz collapse before reaching 50? Judy Garland wasn't just an actress, she was a cultural landmark. Cast in The Wizard of Oz in 1939 at only 16, she sang Over the Rainbow, a performance still ranked among the greatest in film history. But MGM kept her working non-stop, giving her amphetamines to stay awake and barbiturates to sleep. By 21, she was already in rehab. Over the decades, she performed sold-out concerts worldwide, but her finances collapsed. She owed the IRS $4 million by the 1960s. On June 22, 1969, she was found dead in a London bathroom at age 47 from a barbiturate overdose. At her funeral in New York, 22,000 mourners lined the streets. Many carried rainbow flags, turning her goodbye into an unofficial gay rights gathering. Her death devastated fans, yet the next actress's end raised darker questions of whether it was suicide, accident, or cold-blooded murder. Number 8. Thelma Todd.
You are to report to the Roaring Lion Studio for a test. The rest...
She made millions laugh on screen, but her final night silenced Hollywood with suspicion. Why did a comedy queen end up dead in a garage? Thelma Todd, nicknamed the Ice Cream Blonde, was a major star of early 1930s comedies, acting alongside the Marx Brothers in Horse Feathers, 1932, and Monkey Business, 1931. At the height of her fame, she owned a successful cafe on the Pacific Coast Highway where Hollywood's elite mingled. But on December 16, 1935, she was discovered dead in her car inside her garage, carbon monoxide filling the air. She was only 29. Officially, the coroner ruled it accidental, yet rumors spread instantly. Was it suicide, or was mob involvement to blame? The cafe's ties to gangster Lucky Luciano added fuel to the fire. Even today, historians still debate whether foul play was covered up to protect powerful men. Her mystery has never been solved, and it leads us straight into another shocking case of a woman lost to the water under circumstances no one can agree on. Number 7. Natalie Wood.
If I didn't know better, I'd swear you're my brother Dominic.
Look, I just wanted to see...
Her life looked like a fairy tale, yet her death became Hollywood's longest-running mystery. How does a star drown while surrounded by friends? Natalie Wood began acting at age 4 and rose to fame with Rebel Without a Cause in 1955 and West Side Story in 1961. She earned 3 Oscar nominations before turning 25 and was hailed as the American Princess of Cinema. But on November 29, 1981, she vanished from her yacht Splendor near Catalina Island. Aboard with her were husband Robert Wagner, actor Christopher Walken, and the boat's captain. Hours later, her body was found floating in the water, wearing only a nightgown, socks, and a jacket. She was just 43. The coroner originally ruled it an accident, yet bruises on her arms and legs fueled suspicion. In 2011, the case was reopened with Wagner named a person of interest. No answers ever came. Her death left questions that still hang in the air, but the next tragedy left behind a scene so violent, it shocked even hardened investigators. Number 6. Jayne Mansfield.
We've been having a marvelous time, getting wonderful reviews, fortunately, and playing to packed houses.
Her fame rivaled Monroe's, yet her final drive ended in horror. Why did one crash change American car safety forever? Jayne Mansfield was one of the 1950s most recognizable sex symbols, starring in The Girl Can't Help It in 1956 and dazzling with her curvaceous figure, reportedly 40, 21, 36. She was also a marketing genius, staging publicity stunts that kept her in the headlines. But on June 29, 1967, Mansfield, her driver, and her boyfriend were killed instantly when their Buick slammed into the back of a tractor-trailer near New Orleans. She was only 34. 3 of her children, including future Law & Order star Mariska Hargitay, were asleep in the back seat and survived. The crash was so horrific that rumors spread of her decapitation, though officials denied it. The accident was so publicized that it led to the invention of the Mansfield bar, the underride guard now required on trucks. Her gruesome end was unforgettable, yet the next name fell not to machines but from the sky in a fiery descent. Number 5. Carole Lombard.
I know another story that might interest you, too. I met some people on the boat coming over, a Boston family, quite distinguished.
America adored her quick wit, but war demanded her service. How does a comedy queen return from victory, only to meet fire in the sky? Carole Lombard was the highest-paid actress in Hollywood by 1937, celebrated for screwball comedies like My Man Godfrey. She married Clark Gable in 1939, forming one of Hollywood's golden couples. In 1942, after selling more war bonds than any other star, $2 million in one night, she boarded TWA Flight 3 to return to Los Angeles. Minutes after takeoff, the plane slammed into Potosi Mountain near Las Vegas, killing all 22 aboard. Lombard was just 33. Gable, devastated, enlisted in the Army Air Force shortly after, flying combat missions in Europe. President Roosevelt called her the first woman casualty of the war in service to her country. Her loss was not only personal but patriotic, echoing far beyond Hollywood. Her patriotism ended in tragedy, but the next entry reveals a murder so brutal it scarred Los Angeles for generations. Number 4. Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia. Her face was full of dreams, yet her death became the darkest Hollywood legend. Why did one murder still dominate crime history 75 years later? Elizabeth Short, later dubbed the Black Dahlia, was an aspiring actress from Boston. She moved to Los Angeles chasing stardom, but on January 15, 1947, her mutilated body was found in a vacant lot near Leimert Park. She was only 22. The scene horrified detectives. Her body had been severed in two, drained of blood, and grotesquely posed. Newspapers sensationalized every detail, branding her the Black Dahlia for her dark clothing and rumored love of the film The Blue Dahlia. The LAPD interviewed more than 150 suspects, including actors, doctors, and servicemen. Despite endless theories, the case remains unsolved. Over 75 years later, it's still one of America's most infamous cold cases. Her murder shocked the nation, yet the next tragedy struck even closer to home when horror invaded an actress's own living room. Number 3. Sharon Tate.
Dayton into Italy.
But we can still claim you in Texas.
Sure.
Sharon had you read?
Her future promised stardom, but her name became tied to horror. How does a rising actress become the victim of one of history's most infamous crimes? Sharon Tate was 26, married to director Roman Polanski, and 8 months pregnant when terror struck. On August 9, 1969, members of Charles Manson's cult invaded her Benedict Canyon home. Tate begged for her unborn baby's life, but the killers showed no mercy. She and 4 others were brutally murdered, a crime so shocking that even seasoned detectives were shaken. Tate had starred in Valley of the Dolls in 1967 and appeared in The Fearless Vampire Killers, yet her promising career was cut short overnight. Her funeral drew Hollywood's elite, while the trial of the Manson family captivated the world. Historians argue her death marked the symbolic end of the 1960s dream, replacing flower power with fear. Her murder defined an era, but the next story goes even deeper, into the most mysterious death in all of Hollywood. Number 2. Marilyn Monroe.
I will. I just hate to fight with anybody. When you win, you lose. You know, when you're hard.
She was the face of an era, but her death remains unanswered. How does the world's most famous woman vanish at just 36? Marilyn Monroe was Hollywood's brightest star, headlining classics like Some Like It Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. By the early 1960s, she was earning $100,000 a film, yet her personal life unraveled. Failed marriages to Joe DiMaggio and Arthur Miller, rumored affairs with President John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy. On August 5, 1962, she was found dead at her Brentwood home, a bottle of sleeping pills beside her body. Officially ruled probable suicide, conspiracy theories erupted instantly. Was it an overdose, an accident, or a cover-up tied to the Kennedys? She was 36. Her funeral was arranged by DiMaggio, who reportedly banned the Kennedys from attending. For 20 years, he sent roses to her grave 3 times a week. Her mystery still fuels books and films, yet nothing prepared Hollywood for the first great scandal that shattered its golden illusion. Number 1. Virginia Rappe. One woman's death didn't just spark gossip, it nearly destroyed the entire movie industry. How could a single party spiral into Hollywood's first great scandal? Virginia Rappe was just 30, a rising silent film actress, when she attended Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle's infamous Labor Day party at San Francisco's St. Francis Hotel in 1921. Hours later, she fell violently ill, screaming in pain. 4 days afterward, she was dead from a ruptured bladder and peritonitis. Newspapers immediately blamed Arbuckle, claiming he had assaulted her, and the press turned the trial into a public circus. He was tried 3 times, 2 hung juries before a final acquittal in 1922. Still, his career was ruined. Arbuckle, once earning $1 million a year, equal to about $15 million today, never fully recovered. Virginia's own reputation was smeared. Tabloids painted her as immoral rather than a victim. Her death became America's first celebrity scandal, cementing Hollywood's image as a land of decadence, danger, and cover-ups. And with that, the golden screen's shadows feel even darker when the lights finally go out. Thanks for watching. These 20 tragic Hollywood stories prove fame doesn't protect from heartbreak. If you loved uncovering these scandals behind the stars, smash that like button, subscribe for more shocking histories, and check out our next video. More untold Hollywood secrets await.